All right, guys, can you believe it's that time of year again? And we got back from Phoenix just in time. By the time you're seeing the Phoenix vlog, this annual yearly traditional video, quote unquote, my tradition, Youth is Here TV calls it, will already be up. It's the most dreadful time of the year if you're a summer lover like me and the rest of the majority that we never look forward to, but only Jeremy Barley and Shelby Barley look forward to it the most because that's like, a tradition that, that they really, really like. They like, like traditions that most people usually don't do, and that it's like their own thing. It's like it probably, when someone likes something that you do for yourself and that the rest of the majority doesn't do, that means, that's a really special feeling when since they know you do the same thing every year at the same time of year. So of course, if they see it all the time organically, they're going to like it. So that's, I think, why Jeremy and Shelby like it, because it gives my social media its own identity. So that's the only reason why they look forward to it, not because they won't be able to see me right after it's done being filmed until the next spring summer season, but because it's a good tradition. So I'm sure if it's a good tradition, whether the majority does it or not, or if only like one person does it over the majority, then that means they like it as a good tradition, generally speaking. So it's the annual yearly Sandy Ridge finale, and I didn't think we were going to get back in time for Phoenix for one last decent day like this, but here we are. We made it back just in the nick of time, and the cue to go inside like usual is not when it drops below 60 degrees. No, because we only do that during the time of year where it's not expected to be 60 degrees all the time, let alone every single day. Like in the spring, like in early to mid spring, close to late spring. For example, that unexpected trip to Bartles during the Coke 600. Yeah. Well, that was one of those cases where I let it go because it was a special occasion. But any other occasion in the spring and summertime, anyway, not in the summertime, no. When we're getting ready, when we're like springing ahead, starting seeing spring production on YouTube and TikTok, and shifting gears from cold weather to warm weather in March and April. If it drops below 60 degrees, that means I'm out. Same thing like in the fall, pre-Sandy Ridge finale. If we still got warm weather left in the tank, but our decent weather in June doesn't have to be too warm, then that means same thing. One drops below 60 degrees, 59 or below, I'm out. But Sandy Ridge finale is not like that. Even if it drops below 60 degrees, it doesn't really matter as long as you're dressed accordingly. Unlike this said episode tradition 2 years ago. But look at this. And maybe it's like, say, 62, 61, but these heavy ass winds is making it feel like a lot less than that. And we looked at this like, yep, we have to learn from our mistake in 2023 to avoid, history from repeating itself and us getting sick again. And look at that, we dressed accordingly. Hold on. We dressed accordingly. It goes to show you we learned our lesson from before and what to fix, improve, and do better with next time. And guess what? 2 years later, it is next time. So maybe since, this is a repeat of 2023, but better, we could hopefully get a lucky walk-off. It would have to be in between today and November 20th, mine and Emily's anniversary. That would be some shit if November 19th, if we actually got that 50-50 chance was greater that we were going to get that last decent, like extra decent day after today. It would be some shit if it was November 19th, right before we go into mine and Emily's anniversary and the 2-week Thanksgiving festivities. But we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. You just never know what's going to happen. But back to the point of the video and be mutating topics. It's the Sandy Ridge finale that us in the majority dread every year because I hate the cold weather. I hate winter. It feels me to go into hibernation and not come outside unless I have to, or if I'm going to a basketball game to support all my friends that are still in school, or if me and my friends are doing so many outside activities outside of the neighborhood, in indoor facilities. And the only time I come on Sandy Ridge is if I have to say happy birthday to someone, or anything related to that has nothing to do with birthdays, but it's in the same category, that's when I don't come out, because for us, for my friends, they don't care. They come out regardless. But for me, the neighborhood is all closed up for the season for fun and games until we run it back again for the next season of spring and then summer production. In this case, March, April 2026 will be season 5 of Spring is in the Air, and June 2026 will be season 6 of Spring is in the Air. I know, we went through the we went through the long haul last winter because of the fact that there was a lot of stuff we did in summer 2024 that we didn't get to do in summer 2024 that we were able to do. Some of it we were able to do in 2025, but not all of it. Some of it, yes, but there was a lot of usual things we usually do during the summertime that we sadly didn't get to do in 2024. Very minimal was done because my grandmother being on her last legs. So, but now that's all clear and all calm, and all that department is all calm and everything. Now we get to relax and have a normal winter. I know we didn't make it to any football games this year. No motivation or desire this year. I like basketball last year, but this year, basketball, we have to get back there, period. No excuses, no ifs, ands, or buts. So we will work with Ricky B to get to a random, high school game for one for the boys, one for the girls. I promise. Well, maybe for the boys, yeah. For the girls, I don't know. Because most of my friends on that girls team are no longer on the team because they graduated high school and moved on. Whether I still talk to them or not, or whether I'm still in touch with them or not. So we'll figure it out ear by ear. I know we're coming back to see Kevin McMullen play basketball again, which probably would have been the only one we would have went to, but he ended up getting injured. But this year is like his, comeback year after the year off from the injury. So therefore, we're going to have a fun winter for season 5 of Winter Wonderland. The Christmas season for us starts on December 1st. And unlike these dumbass November 1st lemmings that want to rush the holidays and take the seasons for granted, especially all those November 1st dipshits that act like Thanksgiving doesn't exist. And they say, but Thanksgiving is just one day. Christmas is a whole season. Yeah, you're right. Thanksgiving is a day, and Christmas is a whole season, but bitch, please. Can you guys take one thing at a time for once in your lives? I get you love Christmas. That's not the problem. It's the fact that you rush it and you come up with these excuses as to why you say it's not called rushing it. Well, rushing the holiday is rushing the holiday, no matter how you slice their dice. And that includes trying to get a head start on everybody else that is actually smart enough to wait until the time where it matters most. December 1st or after Thanksgiving, anytime after Thanksgiving, from Black Friday thoroughly to December 1st, the latest. But that's my little rant for the day. Well, against these jackasses that, want to, rub it in our faces and shit. Rubbing the faces of the majority, the smart ones, that actually know what common sense is and actually have it, and wait till December 1st, the latest, or Black Friday, the earliest. These November 1st lemmings don't have any common sense at all, except if your name is Trish Troyer, then that's different. She gets a free pass because we love her, and because she has 3 coincidental connections to my family of the 3 guardian angels that are in heaven right now. So only she gets a free pass because we love her. Everybody else can go kick rocks as far as I'm concerned. Not in general, no, we love you guys. I love you guys. But as far as your holiday rushing goes, that's what I'm talking about. Your holiday rushing and, taking the seasons for granted shit. You go, oh, Robert Yates, man. Okay, anyway, I was having a chat with Doug. Speaking of Jeremy and Shelby, that's their dad, the Robert Yates, man. He had a best friend who had a white truck with the Robert Yates Racing logo on it. That's why we call him that, even though I've never met this dude. I hope that logo on the truck never faded out, but anyway, as far as the November 1st lemmings though, is if I know you, I'm not, when I say go kick rocks, I'm not talking about you guys in general. I love you guys as people. I just don't like your holiday rushing when you skip, you want to get into it so fast. I don't have a problem if you love it, but slow down. So that's what I mean by go kick rocks. Not you guys as people, but your holiday rushing and starting Christmas November 1st can go kick rocks as far as I'm concerned. I could say something a lot more colorful, a lot more meaner than kick rocks, but I'm not going to, unless I really, really don't like you. And that list of people who I really dislike or fucking hate is very, very short, thankfully, because I am not that kind of person that's going to hate you just to hate you or dislike you just to dislike you. If I dislike you or hate you, there's a reason. And if you're not one of those people, then consider yourself lucky. So, therefore, yeah, I try to like everybody, even if they're like multiple my mutuals, two or more, don't feel the same about each other. See, if I'm friends with two people, but those same two people don't like each other, what happens between them has no effect on me. Because if I want to be friends with both of them, that's me being my own person and speaking for myself. I'm not going to speak for I'm not going to speak for myself based off other people's opinions on my mutuals, because that's considered taking sides, and I don't do that. I mean, I used to, but I quit doing that a long time ago because that is wrong. I grew up to realize that because when I was younger, I didn't understand how wrong that is. And if I picked one side over the other, the person whose side I picked, I didn't pick, or if I pick somebody's side over the other person who I chose the other person over, the person who I chose the other person over would get their feelings hurt. And I don't want to hurt people's feelings because I am not a mean person. Maybe I was a crazy kid, but I wasn't a bad kid or a mean kid. I just had crazy ass behaviors. But anyway, potentially the last TikTok of the season is coming up. Maybe, maybe not. If you don't see anything, you'll know why. But if you do, then okay, great.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, unfortunately, that didn't go according to plan. So, therefore, looks like we'll have to see Caleb and Jacob next year. So, therefore, let's get back into the housing development and, wrap this shit up. Oh, yeah, to my point, like I was saying, you know how normally, when we're going from cold weather to warm weather in March and April and half of May, when the temperature drops below 60 degrees, like 59 below, we're out. Unless it's a special occasion, then we let it go. Same thing, we're going from warm weather to cold weather in September and all of September, most to all of October, and only a little bit of the beginning of November. Well, for the Sandy Ridge finale, that's different. Even if we're just below 50, 60 degrees, we keep going. And it's not the time expiration is not below 60 degrees. You know what it is? It's the moment it gets dark. The moment it gets dark and the lights come on, that means time to go home. The season's over. See you next year. So just keep that in mind. So if we're in the dark when we're filming the outro, then you'll know why. Okay, we're probably wondering, Mark, hold on a second. What's with the plastic bag? Well, you know how these, random opponents the Spurs will face depending on which game we go to, whether it be against the Cavs here in Ohio or in this case against the Suns in Phoenix, Arizona. And even if they see your jersey, clearly you're not, even if they see and know you're clearly not a fan of their local team and support the opposing team they're playing against. By rule and mandate, they're supposed to hand every single fan, whether they support the local team or they support the opposing team coming in to visit, they're supposed to hand you like your random memorabilia of the said local team. Like in this case, it's like, for example, a year and a half ago, it was a Cavs lunchbox, and this tall security guard, I think it was a black dude, darker than me. He tried to hand it to me, but because I've always been really firm about trying to stay loyal to my team, I told him no. And what's funny is my dad just laughed about it and said, "Don't worry, I'll take it as a gift for someone who might enjoy it, because he's my son and he doesn't like cheating on his team." And then we got upstairs in the Gund Arena and he's like, "Mark, I know you're a Spurs fan, but still, they have to hand you that." And I'm like, "Okay, I get it, but you can't be given a diehard fan of one NBA team, especially for as long as, I've been a Spurs fan, any memorabilia of another team, whether or not it's a mandate or a rule that you have to hand it to them." Like, I don't understand why they don't. It could be a mandate rule all at once, but they should make an exemption. If you see a person who's a fan of the opposing team coming to visit, the said local team who's visiting, you're visiting, if you're like the enemy or the intruder or the visitor, then you should be free of getting like that said home team stuff. Like, you know, that they apparently mandatorily by rule and mandate hand to everybody, no matter who you support. It should be an exception. If you're a fan of the opposing team, that you shouldn't be forced to take that, and they shouldn't be forced to hand it to you. Like if you're wearing a Spurs jersey or something. Like, funny is my dad laughed about it and stuff when it was the Cavs lunchbox, but as soon as it was these two Suns hats, well, in this case, it doesn't matter, because now I'm going to get to the point as to why I decided to take them anyway in a minute. When I originally turned it, before I changed my mind and had second thoughts on the Suns hat, I said, no, I'm not cheating on my team. He got pissy and, lost his mind. It's like, why was he didn't do that over the Cavs lunchbox? But as soon as it's the Suns hat, then why did he? Well, as soon as the Suns hat, he did lose his mind. It's like, what universe does that make sense? I mean, luckily for me, I had second thoughts, where it's not going to matter now, since, the reason why I decided to have second thoughts, I remembered Uncle Andy, our neighbor, our bestie Zane's uncle, was a Phoenix Suns fan for growing up in that same area we visited over the weekend. So I thought, why not let him have it? That way it has a purpose of going to someone in my life that I know in reality. So we got this. So that's why you see this bag. Kind of like in one of the warm weather finales, I had a couple gifts in my hand ready to give to someone. And I either got it to them or I wasn't able to give it to them because I was too late. So I think that's Uncle Andy over there. Let's go see. Yep, their garage is open, so let's get it to them so we can finally get it out of my house.
You got it.
Look at that. Our arms are free. Andy got the two hats, so one's going. I told him he could have one, but I was questioning who he was going to give the other one to. His wife, Megan, his kid, Violet, which I got to swear around him for the first time since Violet wasn't around, and Megan wasn't there to bitch at me. And he said, wait, maybe Zane could have that. He's like, he actually was fully on board with the idea. He did it because he didn't think about it. So yeah, my bestie Zane will get a Phoenix Suns hat from his uncle's neighbor who loves him since 2019, Mark. So yeah, finally, that didn't take long to come out of our house, did it? It sure as hell did not. So therefore, we'll be on and off camera saying our goodbyes for the season to all of our friends in the happiest place in Northeast Ohio. Yeah, I know, it is sad, but this is kind of like summer 2023, minus the frigid and wetness. I'm kind of glad this Sandy Ridge season is over, but is it to the same degree as when I was glad the 2023 season ended? Absolutely not. And you don't know why? I mean, it's kind of like reversal of fortune. At least in 2023, even with more frigid and wet days than nice days, and more nice days that had no action than nice days that had like some moderate action, and like minimal to no extreme action. Some moderate action happened in 2023, yeah, but minimal to no extreme action happened. So, yeah. At least in the summer 2023 abomination, despite the frigid and cold, frigid and wet, conditions, being the majority of the days we counted in that summer, at least more videos happened. And 2 years later, even though the weather was a hell of a lot better in 2025, that when we were expecting a huge summer after the follow-up to what was already a great one the year before, like a banger the year before, even though the weather was really, really nice for the most part, including that Devil's Canyon trilogy, it's kind of funny, reversal of fortune. When it was frigid and wet most of the time in 2023 during the summertime, more videos happened. But when it was actually nice weather, all the time, almost every day, then minimal to very little to minimal videos happened, almost, or if not minimal to none. So the video ratio this year, despite weather being as good as ever, almost every day, it was bad. The weather ratio, and while the weather was to made the 2023 the atrocity that it was, the video to video ratio was so much better. It's like, we gotta fix that. Starting next summer for season 6 of Fun in the Sun, we gotta fix it. We gotta match the video to video ratio to make it just as good as the weather conditions. If hopefully we'll get some good, great, or maybe some perfect weather conditions next summer when we start season 6 of summer production come June 2026. And if we do get any or any of it or all of it combined and all, like from June all the way through August 31st, we got to make sure the video to video ratio is good to go with it. So we're not getting all this good weather for nothing, like we did this year, or all those videos done for nothing like 2 years before that. So we got to make sure the good weather matches with good video to video ratios on YouTube. The TikTok video to video ratio was decent. I mean, not a lot happened there either, but it was still a hell of a lot. I wouldn't say a hell of a lot more. That's a poor choice of words. It was still quite a little bit more amount that took place, more than any YouTube video did. Like, no garra acción y sudor, Tim Duncan can recreate. We only saw that during season 4, Spring is in the Air, where garra acción y sudor continued the tradition of one spring episode per year, and the Tim Duncan can recreate series made it standalone spring debut. It made its springtime debut as a standalone spring episode. So that was the first standalone spring episode ever in production history for the particular series. Which is why this winter, I want to bring it back. I want to bring both series to the winter time as like a surprise, occasional one-off. But keep in mind, this is not going to happen every year because every year is different. Some summers are going to be bangers. Some will be snoozers. Some will be snoozers like it was this year. And some will be like downright bad, like 2023. No matter how high the excitement level So whenever we don't get a Tim Duncan reenactment episode or a Garra Acción y Sudor Gas episode in for the summer and any given season, that's why when we get to winter, we're going to move what should have happened in the summertime to the winter as 2 makeup dates for both series individually for one episode of each series in an indoor facility. I mean, we'll do it we can still do a basketball one. I mean, we did the neighborhood basketball for the springtime during the Easter weekend when NASCAR went back to North Carolina Speedway and Rockingham, North Carolina, known as The Rock. And then we did, a few weeks later, going into the middle part of May, we did the first Tim Duncan Can Recreate standalone spring episode. So we could still do a basketball one, but if my buddies don't want... Here's the thing, though. To make it up to my buddies, whether they've been in an episode before or not in the past, I'll let them choose the game and give them the free choice of it not having to be basketball if you don't want it to be. And I'm the creator that sometimes will get into the middle of the action if I know what I'm doing and understand the gameplay and the rules and how to play and what to do and what not to do. But if it's something that's not basketball, something that I've never been able to get into, like baseball or something, we probably won't do baseball in the gym because swinging a ball that hard and that high into the air is probably going to break a light or break a window. So baseball, that's scrapped. I mean, I don't know about football because playing football on a hardware gym floor could be really, really dangerous. If you fall, take a hard fall, it could crack some ribs or have a serious concussion or a head injury. It might have to be a basketball one. So, but come Winter Wonderland Season 6, when that starts December 1st, we will figure it out. But yeah, I will let my friends choose it, whether they've been in the past episode or not. I will let them choose whatever they want. And I'm not going to force them to do what I want to do. They can just convince me to do what they want to do, whether it's basketball or a different sport that's safe to play in a gym that would not be safe to play in a gym. It would be more safe to play outside during the spring and summer. So I will let them decide that, and whatever they decide, we'll go from there, record it, and do our thing. That'll be the makeup date for Garra Acción y Sudor. And then another time, we'll do a Tim Duncan Can I Recreate makeup date. The only rules are, with the exception of the April 13, 2000 game against the Kings of Sacramento, with the infamous quote-unquote bad knee that he's played with the rest of his career after that. No injury plays. That's just under normal circumstances. But probably the biggest one of all when it comes to being in indoor facilities where me and the majority of my friends are not 7 foot tall or 6'7". I can't believe I fucking said that. It's still fuck that meme. But anywhere as tall as, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Victor Wembanyama, or in some cases, Bruce Bowen, Matt Bonner, Malik Rose. Like, since we're technically not those guys' height, no plays involving a layup or a dunk are allowed. I mean, we could do an episode where we can go up to like 10, 15, 20 attempts if it's something that's really, really difficult, but it'd be really, really difficult to accomplish on the first try, or a little bit after that, because at least in the wintertime, we don't have to worry about getting it right the first time. We don't have to worry about getting it right the first time, or getting it right sooner than later. If we have to go through 10, 15, 20 attempts or whatever, and not a single one of them comes any close, and it just turns out to be an epic fail, then at least it won't be a big deal, because it's just a special edition winter one we normally don't do. So at least in the wintertime, it won't be a big deal, and we don't have to redo that one, unless we choose to come spring, summer coming back the next season. Like, in the wintertime, it wouldn't be a big deal, since we wouldn't be doing another episode until the weather broke for us to do it outside in nice weather again. I mean, we could choose to move on to a different play completely and revisit that one, to try to do a part 2 to see if we can get it right in an outdoor hoop where anybody of any height can dunk. That would be different. We always revisit that, but of course we'll eventually have to revisit something like that. Which way are we going? This way. But we don't have to revisit it right away. If we have an episode that's a big fail in the summertime, though, yeah, the next time we do an episode, we'll have to revisit it immediately to try it again, to the point where it's going to be like that one level on a PS1 or PS2 platforming game, like a Crash Bandicoot, or that one level in that run track and Need for Speed Underground 1, where it's 7 laps, and I remember how Toxic Funky 13 had a hard time beating that one, and he kept getting so angry and pissed and frustrated out of rage, and kept having to redo the race over and over and over 30 fucking times until they got it right and actually won. Or just like the level in Crash Bandicoot 2, Cold Hard Crash. Was it? It was in the 4th warp room. Was it level 17? I can't remember exactly, but it's going through that level and missing that box. You can't even figure out where the hell you missed it as a kid, but then you rediscover it as adults and do better, because at least because you see other people figure out that mistake and what they did wrong. Oh hell, even in the NASCAR Thunder Lightning challenges, like the Jerry Nadeau one in Thunder 03, even though, to be fair, at least What If Racer, from his point of view, made that one look like child's play. For me, I could not beat that challenge for the life of me. I kept having to restart it over and over and over again, and turns out I never got to beat that one. The Johnny Benson Lightning Challenge in Thunder 04 was difficult, just as difficult, but for me, I somehow miraculously beat that one. I think if I remember correctly, I think I beat the Benson one in Thunder 04 after so many damn tries, but I never beat the Nadeau one because that was more complicated. I mean, and neither one of them, in terms of the way the field is set up, is nowhere near accurate to how the field was in the real race. Where in the real race, Nadeau was in heavy lap traffic with a gigantic sized lead over Bobby Labonte. They got the gigantic lead right. At least they got that right, but unfortunately, they did not get the traffic setting right. Where Nadeau had a huge lead over a huge gaggle of cars, and they were all for position. It would have been more realistic had they put all those lap cars all over the track that we had to fight through. Maybe they probably didn't do it that way because they didn't want to make it more difficult for the player than it already was going to be. I mean, at least Ty Thunder modded the Johnny Benson Lightning Challenge, where the running order is accurate and the cars on the track are accurate, but the field is how it's set up is not accurate, which I'd rather have one accuracy than no accuracies if we can't have two accuracies. I mean, some of these lightning oh shit, snake, get the fuck out. I mean, some of these lightning challenges in these games, in terms of how they're set up, most of it is close to perfect. Close to accurate to how the real race is set up. But there's some of it that's not accurate at all. Like there's two lightning challenges in Thunder 3 that is based off the 2001 EA Sports 500. The Bobby Hamilton Sr. one is a hell of a lot more accurate than the Dale Jr. one. At least the Bobby Hamilton Sr. one actually had the correct information. I don't know if the MRN dialogue was correct though. It might have been from the same one that they used for Dale Jr., but it had the same dialogue, except if you were like listening to the original MRN broadcast of the actual race, the Bobby Hamilton MRN dialogue and the Dale Jr. are probably in the same one. But the Junior dialogue, MRN dialogue in his is correct. Bobby Hamilton, maybe, but the way Junior described his win was not accurate. The way the field was set up in his lightning challenge, that wasn't accurate either. So his description of how he won and the way the field was set up was not accurate. But yet Bobby Hamilton's was way more accurate than what Junior's ever was. At least his description of how he lost it to Junior due to causing that wreck with that 17 car pileup with Bobby Labonte was accurate. I'm not sure if the passing Jeff Gordon for 6 was accurate. No, it wasn't. It wasn't, because if I remember correctly, Bobby Hamilton Sr. finished 5th. I finished in the top 5 in the 2001 EA Sports 500. And I know this because he qualified for the Winston Noble 5 bonus program at Las Vegas the very next year, since he finished top 5 in a previous Noble 5 race. So him saying that he himself finished 6th after passing Jeff Gordon to a checker flag, that's inaccurate too. That's inaccurate too. At least the way he described how he lost out of the Talladega sweep and the way the field set up in the Lightning Challenge, that was mostly accurate at least. And the one that really pissed me off the most in Thunder 03 in terms of inaccuracy was the Terry Labonte one, where you have to reenact his Winston All-Star race win. It's like, how do you fuck this up badly? I mean, I get it, because, Dale Sr.'s death was still fresh on our minds. So I understand why you didn't want to, sneak him out of the Legends pool and put him in there. I get why EA did it, because they didn't want to upset a lot of people whose mind was still fresh on Dale Sr.'s death the year before. But still, I mean, you could have made an exemption where you could get it accurate, for accuracy purposes, in the Lightning Challenge, where instead of putting Bobby Labonte up in the front with you, Tony Stewart, and Jeff Gordon, put Dale Sr. there like in the real race. Like, make an exemption where you can use him for accuracy purposes. And because in the real race, that was Dale Sr. battling his Terry and Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon for the win in the Winston. Bobby Labonte, if anything, was DNF'd in the garage, meaning he was eliminated from the big show. So EA got that wrong big time. I understand why, but at the same time, I don't. Like, that is so confusing. Like, even though I understand the circumstances behind it, in terms of what happened in real life NASCAR at the beginning of the 2001 season, either way, no matter the circumstance in that department, how the fuck do you mess up that badly? It's like, I don't understand, but at the same time, I do. But, man, even when EA had the good shit, even when the NASCAR games were actually good, they still had their flaws. Sure, they weren't perfect by any means. Like Thunder 03, 04, 2005 Chase for the Cup. Oh, 2005 Chase for the Cup, obviously, it's nowhere near, like, it's not perfect, obviously, but it's nowhere near as good as Thunder 04 and Thunder 03, unless you play it with mods on an emulator, where you put like Mayfield and Schrader in the game, and all these other missing real life 2004 drivers that'll overwrite the fantasy drivers. That's the only way you can make Chase for the Cup just as good as Thunder 03 and Thunder 04. Sure, though, with mods, Chase for the Cup along with Thunder 03 and Thunder 04 with and without mods are not perfect, but it's way better than what has been produced over the years since EA stopped making the games. Like, it's way better than any UTech Next game that came. NASCAR 2011, NASCAR the game Inside Lines 2012/2013, 2012-2013, NASCAR 14, NASCAR 15, better than any of the modern day NASCAR Heat games that came after the classic triple classic trilogy of Heat 2000, Heat 2002, which is 2001, Enter to Daytona 2002, and definitely miles better than whatever the fuck that heap of trash NASCAR 21 Ignition is. And I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I don't give a shit. For those who still like, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, who still, appreciate the older games, but also will give the newer games a chance. Me, I'm sorry, I just cannot, touch a newer NASCAR game that is not the EA games. It's not that I don't like these NASCAR YouTubers' content when it comes to the gaming, but for me, I just have a personal preference because as an old school NASCAR fan who's a sucker for the Winston Cup and Gen 4 era, I just prefer the older games from that time period over the newer games that came after that time period. Because that time period when NASCAR was in its heyday and they're making the games based off all those 6 seasons, it was my bread and butter that I grew up with, so it just stuck with me as just mainly as just a personal preference over anything else. So that's why, just what I'm gonna stick with. That's the only thing that's all I'm gonna stick with until the day I die. So nobody or nothing can change that for me. Nothing can change that for me. Nobody can change my mind. Sorry, not sorry. But I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this. But Thunder 03, Thunder 04, and with or without mods, and 05 Chase for the Cup with mods, and 06 and 07 with mods. Hell, even NASCAR 09 with mods where you put the actual manufacturers into the game. Oh, look out. We put the actual manufacturers in the game, and whatever missing drivers that were not in the real life drivers that were not in the original game to begin with from the 2008 season, all of that is miles better than NASCAR 25. So call me biased. I don't give a shit. Again, it's just my personal preference, and the older games is my bread and butter with what I grew up with and what I remember the most. So that's what stuck with me, and that's all that's gonna stick with me until the day I die, until I'm deceased at Riverside Cemetery next to my Wello. So thanks for coming to my final Sandy Ridge TED Talk of the year. Okay, it's 59 degrees, but this video / finale adventure is not over with yet. It's not over until it gets dark, with the combination of it getting dark and the lights coming on, which if we get a low battery, whichever comes first. So therefore, you'll know it's the end whenever you see a pitch black sky, or if I come back before that and I tell you the phone battery is low. Sammy. The only other thing that would get us in early before usual time limit or time expiration queue for this tradition every year, with it being pitch black and oh Jesus Christ, it being pitch black and the comment combined with the streetlights being on, is if it fucking rains. Right now it's sprinkling a little bit, so it's not really that big of a deal. But if it gets any worse by any means, at all, then yeah, that's it that'll be it for the season. And this looks like it's going to be one of our shortest Sandy Ridge finales if the rain ends up picking up and it stays that way. And look at this, Halloween is over. Time to pack this shit up, people. I mean, not just Carrie and them, but everybody was Halloween decorated, and I need to pack that shit up already. I don't even think about, unless you're one of those dumbass lemmings that want to say Christmas starts in November 1st. It's just not true. Never has been and never will be, no matter what those dumbass lemmings think. And yeah, unless you're one of those people, if you have common sense, then you wait till after Thanksgiving, like Black Friday the earliest, or December 1st the latest. And Hannah, Cordy, and Austin had their first Halloween together in their own home while I was away in Arizona. So I liked that for them. Too bad I had a fucking miss. Oh shit, the gate's open. Oh, I hope the dogs aren't back there. Okay, they're not. But I hope John closes. I don't think anybody's home right now. Oh shit, it's picking up.
We're done. My car's killed.
Well, rain's starting to pick up a little bit, so I think we're gonna have to pull the plug and call it a season. It just sucks that we didn't get enough. We didn't get enough action. We really didn't get to see what potential this Sandy Ridge finale had. this year. We didn't get to see its like true potential on full display because Mother Nature decided to cut us a break until we were like, somewhat halfway through. I can't count, but anyway, that's it for the 2025 season in the happiest place in Northeast Ohio. I was hoping for at least one more TikTok today and maybe a couple bonus ones over the weekend while I was at Arizona. But unfortunately, sometimes things are not meant to be. So we will see my friends in the happiest place in Northeast Ohio next season for season 5 of Spring is in the Air, season 6 of Fun in the Sun. So have a good night tonight and a better day tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Good night. And I'll see you all for the Arizona vlog whenever that comes out in between today and right before mine and Emily's anniversary. And to end this video, here's a recap of all the fun we had in Sandy Ridge and outside of Sandy Ridge during season 5 of summer production and fall production, June through August 2025, and early September all the way till now, early November 2025. So until next year for season 5 of Spring is in the Air come March, April 2026, and season 6 of Fun in the Sun come June 2026. So long from the happiest place in Northeast Ohio. We call it Sandy Ridge. Peace out, Sandy Ridge. See you later, everyone.
And with that, the 2025 season comes to an end. Good night.